Who invented AI? The real story behind artificial intelligence. AI can now write, create images, make videos, code software, and even help run businesses. But here's the crazy part. Artificial intelligence didn't start with ChatGPT. Its story goes back more than 80 years. So who actually invented AI? It wasn't one person. The first thing to understand is that AI wasn't invented by one person. It grew out of mathematics, computer science, logic, neuroscience, and decades of researchers trying to answer one massive question. Could a machine ever think or learn like a human? And to understand where modern AI came from, we have to go all the way back to the 1940s. The first artificial neurons. In 1943, researchers Warren McCulloch and Walter Pitts published a mathematical model designed to imitate how neurons in the human brain work. It was extremely primitive compared with modern AI, but the concept was important. Instead of treating computers as nothing more than calculators, researchers were beginning to ask whether machines could process information in a way that resembled a brain. That idea helped lay the groundwork for what eventually became neural networks. Alan Turing changes the question. Then came Alan Turing. In 1950, Turing published a famous paper called Computing Machinery and Intelligence. He opened it with a question that sounds incredibly modern. Can machines think? Turing proposed an experiment that eventually became known as the Turing test. Basically, if a human had a text conversation with a machine and couldn't reliably tell that it was a machine, that computer could be considered intelligent under the test. Remember, this was 1950. Computers were nothing like the machines we have today. The birth of artificial intelligence. Then, in 1956, computer scientist John McCarthy coined the term artificial intelligence. McCarthy helped organize the Dartmouth Summer Research Project on artificial intelligence alongside researchers including Marvin Minsky, Claude Shannon, and Nathaniel Rochester. That Dartmouth project is commonly considered the beginning of artificial intelligence as an official field of research. That's why John McCarthy is often called the father of artificial intelligence. But he didn't create AI by himself. It was the beginning of a massive collaborative effort. 2 o'clock, 2:30, early AI. During the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, researchers mostly built AI using rules and logic. They would essentially tell a computer, if this happens, do this. If that happens, do that. Researchers built programs that could solve mathematical problems, play simple games, and perform certain types of logical reasoning. But these systems didn't really learn the way modern AI does. Machines start learning. By the 1980s, expert systems became popular. These programs used huge collections of rules to imitate decisions made by human experts. Then during the 1990s and 2000s, machine learning became increasingly important. Instead of humans programming every single rule, computers could be trained using data and begin identifying patterns for themselves. That was a major shift. Deep learning changes everything. In the 2010s, things accelerated. Computers became dramatically more powerful. Researchers gained access to enormous data sets. Graphics processors, or GPUs, allowed neural networks to perform massive numbers of calculations. Deep learning started producing major breakthroughs in image recognition, speech recognition, translation, and other areas. Then another breakthrough arrived: the transformer. In 2017, researchers introduced an architecture called the transformer in the paper Attention is All You Need. Transformers became one of the key technologies behind modern large language models. These systems can learn patterns across enormous amounts of information and generate entirely new outputs: text, code, images, audio, and video. So, who invented AI? There isn't one inventor, but if you need one name, John McCarthy is usually considered the father of artificial intelligence because he coined the term in 1956. What we call AI today is really the result of more than 8 decades of research, failures, discoveries, and breakthroughs. And considering how quickly things are moving now, this story probably isn't anywhere close to finished.